In this one, we are getting into Influence, the Science and Practice by Robert Cialdini. It's all about the psychology of persuasion and so many things. Let's get straight into it. In the end, I'll give you all my fluff and bits. One of the best books I've recommended and read, like it's one of the longest ones I've also done, a summary of. All of the choices you think you've made, you've been influenced in some way or another. All your choices, you will understand after going through this summary how different things can affect. And each chapter begins like with an advertisement to give you an example, and then at the end of each chapter, it has something called a defense, and it also ends with a summary and study questions. Special big up to Amit for giving me the book and David D'Angelo for suggesting it. Chapter 1, Weapons of Influence. Now there was a experiment they did where the mother turkey started nursing a stuffed polecat because there was recorded baby sounds of turkey cheep cheep. Same way humans can use the word because as a trigger. Example, can I cut in this line to do my photocopies because I'm in a hurry? And it doesn't have to be a big excuse, it can just be because I'm in a hurry. You don't have to give some profound story about it. It doesn't matter how valid the excuses. Another one was where they left a fridge outside the house saying free to anyone that wants it, and it wasn't taken until the price was added. It was stolen immediately after a price was added. So expensive is good, so you can try hiking up the price to help the thing sell. Even adding reduced to the item will help it. The other one I've seen what people do is, I forgot the name for it, the trick, the proper price on top with a strike through and then the reduced price so the people think, oh, I'm getting a bargain. Another one is where a lot of herd mentality, where the pros of betting will bet on losing things. So the people who are not very good at it or new to betting would bet, oh, these guys are betting on this, let's go herd mentality on it. And then they switch in the end to claim their winnings. If an expert says so, it must be true. Sometimes dangerous, like the flight case study where the first officer didn't question the captain. A lot of the mentors, when I'm making my videos, they tell me the same thing. Use influence. Say, this is the proven thing. Like, you know, the hook, they say first 3 seconds, prove yourself, validate yourself in some way of authority or expertise. Next is Rove Beetle release a scent that makes ant thinks the beetle is the young, and then they get taken care of by the ants and taken to the rest of the eggs and they eat the eggs. The next one is the salesperson asks the boss for a price, pretends to mishear and say something cheaper. Another one is where they sell you the expensive stuff, like try to upsell you on the suit. So then when they want to sell you the shirt or tie in contrast, it will sound cheaper. Another one would be a house salesman who would show you the first two undesirable houses or set up properties and then take you to the one they actually want you to buy. Car salespeople also do this by giving you a low number, saying, "Oh, this is the car," and then slowly add on things. That's what happened to me. Oh, you will need that protective paint cover. You need the protective windshield cover. Oh, you've forgotten about the insurance. Australian weather is really hot. You'll need better weather. Chapter 2, Reciprocation. The old give and take. So reciprocation, I've never understood this, but a lot of people do it. And in this one, it shows how Mexico and Ethiopia, out of all the places, had a strong bond because of this. Another example would be Hare Krishnas giving you free flowers or a hug. So they've given you something. Something triggers inside to reciprocate. On top of that, they knew the flowers would be thrown away in the bin. So every now and then, someone would go to the bin, recollect the flowers, and regift it again. It's so powerful, even the people that don't like the other can still be influenced. Example is free samples in the supermarket, or there was a guy, I think Winston Churchill or someone, he says, if there's someone you know doesn't like you or you have some issues with them, ask them for one of their favorite books, most important books that you want to read. And then whether you read it or not doesn't matter. What's happened is this person has given their most valuable. They've given that to you. So something inside them, the subconscious saying, I must like this person to give them something so valuable to me. So it passes some boundaries. Hypnosis uses the inductions the same way. Another one is German soldiers were disarmed when they catch the enemy off guard eating and the caught unawares. The enemy simply gestured to offer the German the bread. So they caught them unaware, like, these guys are going to kill me. Do you want some bread? We're eating right now. It's eating time. Once the reciprocation cycle is started, the one in debt can feel burdened, and the one that gave can have resentment for the one who does not reciprocate, with a few exceptions like long term relationships, established friendships, and families, etc. I don't know about you, but I've noticed this a lot. When someone helps the other person, they somehow have that air of superiority and kind of a touch of disdain for that other person. Like I've helped them and stuff, but something inside, it's like there is that friction there. Now, when salespeople are trying to get referrals from you, so you call your friends or family, it's under the mask of being a friend or recommendation from someone you trust. More on this later. It was just mentioned as a sales tactic is to get rejected on the first pitch to reduce your offer for asking for referrals. So the salesperson, what he'll do is he will come to you to get rejected. He intentionally wants to get rejected because he's going to ask you for the smaller offer, which is referrals. Oh, so if you're not into it, do you know anyone? Would you like to recommend someone? This and that. Chapter 3, Commitment and Consistency. The Hobgoblins of the Mind. Once we make a choice or take a stand, we will encounter personal and interpersonal pressure to behave consistently with the commitment. Most true with lovers when they both know it's not going anywhere or can't stand each other. So it's called the third leg, I think. There was a picture in the book, if I remember correctly. Like, say you just have one belief, okay, yeah, this product is nice, but then the person connects it to your value. I bought this product because it's helping me with noise cancellation. I have overstimulation issues with too much sound. It's noise cancellation, so that's another leg. So now that those legs are there, I'm going to start making my own legs to make sure my belief stands on it properly and stays consistent. Belief people, I think we'll get into it more. Sometimes the consistency is mechanical because we're comfortable not doing all the calculations and avoid labor of thinking. The way to keep sales up after Christmas was to have it in demand toys in limited supply so parents are forced to buy the kid something else. But since the kid was expecting the in demand toy, the parent promises to get it as soon as it's back in stock, which is after the festive season. Going to the store and seeing the other parents want the same thing makes it more valuable. Sometimes folks pay 10 times more to get it before the others. Be aware of just simple questions like, would you volunteer for so and so if you had to or needed to? Not that they'll pressure you into it in the first meeting, but in the next call or drop in, they'll bring it up, and since you said you would, you want to look consistent. This is how they increase volunteers by 700%. Another trap is asking you how you're feeling. How you feeling? You know, you get all those calls where they keep saying, how are you feeling? Because once you say good, you're in a better position than the cause they are calling for, and thus you feel obliged or guilted into it. The Chinese use this so well against the American POVs with their leniency. They started small and builded. I think it's built. Example one, asking the POV to make anti American, pro communist statements like the US is not perfect. Small start, but they're in now. Second one, they then ask how the US was not perfect. So they were starting to give him another leg. It's like, how was it not perfect? Then then they write about it, which is very powerful. Then broadcast the essay on radio, etc. The POVs would hear this up to a point where they'd say stuff like, although communism wouldn't work in America, I think it's a good thing for Asia. More on this in coming chapters. Okay, foot in the door technique by salesmen. Start small. Case study of how locals were first asked to allow a sign of safe driving at their homes. Will you put a sign of safe driving in your home? Once the resident felt that they're playing their part in the maintaining of local community, the stakes were raised to signing a petition to keep the area clean, and then so on and so on. Having a POV write out a question and then the pro-communist answer. If he refused to write it voluntarily, he was asked to copy it from the notebooks, which must have seemed like a harmless enough concession. So it's in his own handwriting as a lasting personal reminder, and it can be shown to others. Now, something I learned or we learned in Art of Living is to praise the person with the qualities they want to see in them. We learned this in parenting. I've just done a parenting course. You learn this in so many leadership things. Praise the things you want to see more of. Example, President Anwar Sadat would flatter their opponents by stating how they and the citizens were widely known for their cooperativeness and fairness. POW who wanted prisoner of war who wanted to let the family know that they're okay knew to get Their letters through, they had to write good stuff about the captors, like fair treatment or intentions of peace and surrender, etc. Then there was the essay, one where they'd win either a few cigarettes or fruit. See, they were given just a little fruit or cigs, so when writing the essay, it was less about winning the small reward and psychologically more about them really believing in what they write, which is why bribing children works for only so long. So salespeople are asked to set a goal and write it down, which is nothing new these days. Okay. To combat the cooling off law that helps customers cancel if they have second thoughts, the companies get you on paper. Procter and Gamble used an essay competition that went something like, I like the product because. So you're starting your own belief system and making your own thing. A test was done where folks wrote down a belief on a magic pad, which means they could erase the evidence, but still they stayed committed to the belief. It's worked on folks wanting to stop smoking, lose weight, etc. Changing, please call us if you change your plans to, will you please call us if you change your plans? Immediately switch the no-show rate by 20% in restaurants. So let's look at that sentence. Will you please call us if you change your plans? So that's asking a question instead of giving a direction, okay? If you see an ad for concerts or the like and they don't show the price, it's because they want you to call in or visit the website. So once you're committed that much, they got you. And this is an issue I have on LinkedIn with jobs, with so many other businesses where I'm like, if I don't see the price, I'm out, man, because I know that trick. Now, hazing is a very, very powerful thing. It's a very rigorous thing also because it's not only done in fraternities, it's done in gangs. So let's go through it. Hazing, fraternities haze you by Hell Week, beatings, exposure to cold, thirst, some kind of ordeal, because after that you'll be so much more committed to the club, cult, etc. Gang members get beaten the hell out of them. Masons have their own initiations, tribes do it, it happens everywhere, and after you do it, your commitment is solidified. The more pain and effort you go through to get something, the more you value it. And the funny thing is, when folks tried to ban the initiations, the trials become more harsher and more secret, or there were riots to keep the initiations as they were, even if it costs lives or health, etc. Kids were threatened not to play with the toy, then observed from a one-way mirror. So when kids were threatened not to play with the toy and then observed in a one-way mirror, they didn't play with the toy. But 6 weeks later, when they were given a place to play with lots of toys, they chose the forbidden toy to play with because the threat wasn't there anymore. In similar experiments, kids were just told it's wrong to play with the toy, and they didn't play with it for 6 weeks. Only 33% played with the forbidden toy. And my note over there is no wonder I did all the things I was threatened not to do. So there are three kind of kids to know which one of these lines to use. You can use it's bad to like honey, so I hope you don't do it. The second one is because if you do, I'll be disappointed in you. And the third one is probably I'll probably have to do something I don't want to. And there's a quote from Sam Butler that says, he who agrees against his will is of the same opinion still. Growing legs. Yeah, here we go. The example, car salesman lowballing. They've given you a low price you're happy with. They let you marinate through it till it grows its own legs of support. So now you've decided, yeah, the price is right. I like the car. Now I need to grow my own legs of support. Um, they'll let you have the car to drive for a day. Then slowly you'll say, for a little fee, you can get matching trimmings, etc. Or they'll say that, oh, the salesperson forgot to add the cost of the air conditioning. They forgot to add the MP3 player. It costs a bit more. And they'll do it in a way to make you feel guilty that you're getting such a good price and not saying nothing about it, like, oh, you're getting such a good price, don't tell other people or stuff like that. So here is the explanation now. Your legs, you've grown your own support legs. So when they take out the legs they gave you, your support is still solid because you've grown yours. There's an attendance example asking students to attend something at 7 a.m. They were asked if they will attend, and after getting a yes, telling them the time. Boyfriend example, guy says he'll change for her only if she takes him back. He does change, but only for a couple of months and goes back to his routine. But she loves him more than ever because it was her choice and she's committed to her choice. Energy saving example. Publicizing names of public spirited, fuel conserving citizens help more than just telling them how much they would save. So once the citizens got into action, they grew their own legs of enhanced self esteem, new self image, lowered energy bill, need to reduce foreign oil dependency, and the publicity leg was knocked off or lowballed. So the defense is listen to your stomach, let the person know you know what they're doing. Another way is asking yourself, knowing what I know now, if I could go back in time, would I make the same choice? Knowing that I know now that they've added MP3 player cost, air conditioning, trimming costs, would I still buy this car? Did I still want it that badly? Chapter 4, Social Proof. Truths are us. So canned laughter in sitcoms, they are so effective if you've noticed, like try and watch a comedy without canned laughter and you'll see what a big difference it is. People laughed longer, more frequently, and when all this was playing, even on bad jokes, following the crowd mentality. Now, bartenders, they call salting the tipping jar, salting the jar, where they get more tips. They notice they get more tips when they put some money already in there. Evangelists have ringers in the audience to come at specified times to give witness or to catch the Holy Ghost. This guy, this magic, this pastor evangelist. Adverts use fast growing or largest selling in their language. There's a whole thing about language to use when you're advertising to let people know how many other people have already bought it. If used in the right way, it can be used in, say, like a kid is scared of dogs and then he sees his friends, same age kids playing with the dogs. We did it with our son with cycling, swimming, all kinds. Anytime we see that, and then he sees the kids jumping on the trampoline and going even harder and faster, he'll be like, oh, they're doing it, I'm doing it. Remember that joke of you looking in the sky, you're pointing, and then the crowd comes, oh, look at that. And then you disappear while everyone's still looking like, what's that? And it's nothing. Now, this one of my favorite stories, the crazy cult, how they believed the world was coming to an end, and they gathered waiting outside for the rescue spaceship. But it didn't come, so the leader, in his automatic writing, he said, the little group, still alone all night long, had spread so much light that God saved the world from destruction. Basically, they had all these codes, then they got in people. Their commitment was even more solidified that they were even calling more people to recruit, even though nobody joined. They even went to the media. That's how like crazy you can go into your following cults and religions and stuff. Pluralistic ignorance. This one is such a bad story of entire group. I think it was like 38 witnesses saw or heard a attack happening. They didn't help the victim. I think her name was Catherine Jean Genovese. They could hear her being abused, killed, beaten, whatever it was. Nobody did anything because they all thought someone else was doing. So the remedy is below, and the first thing is to make sure the people around you know that you need help. Second of all, let them know what kind of help. Call the ambulance, call the police, call this. And the most effective is if you point out a specific person. You in the white jacket, I need help, call an ambulance. Or get someone to call an ambulance. Just remember when people are uncertain, they are going to copy the people around them, and people like them. Another kid example, kid wouldn't swim and mom got coaches, etc. Nothing helped until the kid went to a camp and saw Tommy, also a 3-year-old. So kid started too. Werther effect. When there is a suicide on the news, people of the same age and same area has an increase in suicide rate. It's not only suicide, like how the Jonestown suicides worked. But setting is also important, and because Jim Jones not only had charisma, but he had also convinced his sheep to follow him all the way from San Francisco. They moved into this. There was a very nice documentary about it, or explaining, like, man, the following people can get. Now you know what adverts are when you see average Joe or Jane hyping the product, and be aware of audience clicks too. They are paid to have a price list. Like clicks have a price list. Do you want applause? Do you want insistent applause? Do you want bravo? Do you want encore? I will come as your audience. You pay me this much and I will do this. I remember even in funerals, they had people crying intentionally just to get it out or, stuff like that. So basically, check your autopilot now and then. Like folks that bet on horses sometimes put a higher bet on the losing one. And then when the odds are all the people who don't know bet on that, they bet on the winner. I already talked about that. So the defense is since we're faced with so many choices every minute of the day, we can't always be on guard. So the best defense is to be aware. And if you feel like it is not where you want to follow the crowd, simply disengage. There's a funny comic strip of pigs going to the slaughterhouse saying, there's so much safety in numbers. Chapter 5, Liking the Friendly Thief. Like Tupperware parties, the ladies get together, friends sit together, have fun, all that. They're happy, and the vibe is nice, and then bye, bye, bye. Tupperware parties start somewhere every 2.7 seconds. Salespeople don't always sell. Sometimes they want you to reject them so that they can ask you for a concession like referrals. We already talked about that. And then when they get the referral, they call that referral, they say, hey, this so and so person called me. They said you would be interested. And they're like, oh, okay, yeah, it comes from a reliable source. People prefer to say yes to folks they know and like. Factors of liking include physical attractiveness, similarity, and compliments. Politicians change their name to a country friendly one and suddenly get more votes. So, school desegregation increased prejudice between blacks and whites as they stick with their own kind. So, when they mixed schools, the blacks and the whites would stay separate. Now, this one, I think it's a very American thing also because Americans like their two-side systems with blues and reds and blacks and whites and Tupacs and biggies and apples and all that. So, I don't know. I guess because I was raised in private schools, so I didn't know much of that. I was always eager to mix with other groups. Even a teacher asking questions can cause a problem. Like if a teacher called upon someone that didn't know the answer, and there was a boy that knew it and really wanted to answer. Or even the clever versus dumb, or clever kids that don't answer to look cool. But cooperative learning schools do so much better. Example of an experiment of kids in a camp. Two teams got very competitive, but when they both faced the same problem, they quickly got together to solve the problem. And the problem could have been the teacher. So the two groups, instead of fighting with each other and the teacher being the mediator, the teacher becomes the bad person and then they get together. How many times have you made so many close friends when you are in a bad, hard situation because you got together tighter? This way, dummies are helped by smarties. Cops use this in the good cop, bad cop situation. Good looking model on car adverts. Restaurants that have credit card accepted signs get more business even when credit cards were not used. Mars Lending helped Mars chocolate business. Celebrities wearing company logos and endorsing products. Even politicians hang with celebrities to make them look cooler. People who give bad news are treated like the ones that did it. Like weathermen who get death threats and old ladies hitting him with the bags, etc. When someone has to give good news, they can go into detail about it, but they will have to give bad news. They'll be more like, you should talk to dad or teacher about it, blah, blah, blah. Even in sports, supporters will be like, we're winning, we're number one. But when the team is doing bad, then it's like, they fouled, they are so useless. Does the name Pavlov ring a bell? Well, people use luncheons too, because after eating, liking increased. So this one was a very good study where people have meetings. Let's go for lunch. Let's do a brunch. They go out. Eating releases nice, happy chemicals and this and that. So it's a much nicer environment for closing deals and stuff like that. So the defense is you can't be vigilant with everyone. So the best defense is realizing when you like someone too much too fast. And I have this problem, like reciprocity or just that connection, that vibe, the energy. Oh, and then within a few days or even after that meeting, I'll be like, yeah, after the thing has worn off now. In the 25 minutes I've known this person, have I come to like them too much? If the answer is yes, then mentally separate your liking for the person from their offer. Separate the artist from the art. Chapter 6: Authority Directed Defense. Authority figures are more respected and listened to or relied on. Example: shock treatment from a fake person in a coat telling a random guy to shock another random guy increasingly as he gets questions wrong. And the random guy, he even though he would resist, he would get into sweats, and the white coat person, the fake scientist, would say, "It's okay, just keep going." The random guy would plead, and he would still do it, even though he would bite his lips and all that. So then there was a funny story of an ear doctor giving prescriptions to be given in the right of ear or R ear, and the chemist read it as rare. So the nurse put required number of eardrops in the anus. Larry King voice style changes when he's interviewing Clinton or Streisand, but it's unmoved when guests are of lower status. Even lower status monkeys given caramel spread, and the liking of caramel spread was only 51% in 1.5 years, and none of the leaders would like it. But when the leaders had some and it spread 100% in 4 hours, again, celebrities and Edwards link to this. Symbols of authorities are titles, clothes, trappings like a car and clothes and badges, uniforms. Authority. When a doctor introduces himself without saying he's a doctor, the conversation is more fun and gets more serious when he says he's a doc. The higher your status, the higher people perceive your height. Like someone introduced as just a student seemed 2.5 inches shorter than when he was introduced to another crowd as a professor. So for personal ads, men saying they're tall and women saying they're short or weighed less, got more responses. There was an experiment where nurses got a call from someone saying he was a doctor and how blindly they followed and broke four crucial rules. So these are the things. Clothing. Classic cases like fake folks dressed in cops giving orders, cops uniforms. Did you know you're more likely to follow someone wearing a suit that crosses the road when the don't walk sign is on? So trappings, jewelry, watch, car, etc. You're likely to take longer to honk at someone in a nicer car. Then also be aware of sly sincerity. Example, Listerine, the stuff you hate 3 times a day. That's sly sincerity. Avis, we're number two, but we try harder. L'Oreal, a bit more expensive, but worth it. Okay, this waiter, he had a great repertoire when he was approaching. He would change his repertoire, like approaching family or couples, so he would change that. With family, he was more friendly and clownish with the kids. With couples, he was more formal and talked to the guy. Alone guys got cordial conversation and warm. His one trick was to frown and look over his shoulder and secretly say, "Ah, that dish is not nice. I recommend this one, which is this or that, which was less expensive too." After getting the food order, he'd ask if he could choose the wine, and the customer already trusted him like he's on our side. So they'd agree and he'd get them to buy expensive wines. When it was dessert time, he would give amazing descriptions. So a defense to all this is awareness and ability to identify fakes. Asking yourself, is this authority really an expert? And then, how truthful can he expect this expert to be? Now, I have first-hand experience with quite a few people in my life who use this expert or authority figure kind of thing. They will quote a lot of people. They haven't even read the books, but they'll act like they've read the books. Think and Grow Rich. This is powerful quotes that go through you or to your subconscious and stuff like that. Or like Some other people in my life, they'll say, I've studied in this. Of course, you need to listen to me about this stuff. And then I find out, and their nursing field is in mental health, while this is in something else. Chapter 7, Scarcity, the rule of a few. Now, scarcity is a big one. Uh, Less is best, loss is worst. Like when students rated cafeteria food, and when they found out that because of a fire, they wouldn't get some for 2 weeks, they liked it even more. The same food they were complaining about. You want things you can't have or are in demand. More value when something is less available. Okay. Telling customers, I think that was the last one, or we wouldn't be making it with these engines anymore. Limited time offers. I have so many people to see and wouldn't be able to come back if you change your mind. Now, every gym I go to, that's my personal note, they tell me the same thing. We only got this offer today, so I'll tell them I'm looking at different gyms and I like freebies, so I also tell them like that other gym is giving me towel, backpack, and bottle. Are you giving me the same? What else are you going to give me? So, just the same way, I'm going to decide today after going to the other gyms. So, give me your best offer now, or just tell me what the offer is now. Story of children at 2 and how they you tell them don't do this, don't do that. If you give them one toy, they want the other. How they went for the toy was behind big obstacles instead of the short barrier. Okay, so the kid would go for the toy which is behind some big obstacles instead of the one behind the short barrier. Even teenagers are in this state. Like when parents forbid them to see certain someone, they end up loving the forbidden person. Remember the legs? They've grown their own legs. When interference weakened, the feelings cooled down. But it applies to all of us because if we feel one of our freedoms is going to be taken away or it's going or there's a threat to it, we'll do something about it. In censorship, when they learned there was an age restriction, they wanted to read it more and felt they would like it more. So if something is scarce, you want it more, but you want it even more when it's classified, exclusive information, or information that lets you know that only a few people will get the scarce information. Major revolutions, revolts, and internal wars occurred because of this. Like when slaves did what they were told, then they got their rights, schooling, housing, employment, etc. And when that came under threat, things went down. Or when Mikhail Gorbachev granted freedoms and the KGB put him on house arrest, the population thought it was a threat to their freedoms, and the uprising was so swift, strong, and unitary that after 3 days it went back to Gorbachev. Or when coupons were discontinued, even when the population wasn't using them. Or salespeople telling fence sitters that they are already with someone viewing the house. Or a car salesman telling people to come see the car at the same time and then make the latecomers wait and watch him showing the car to the early birds. So, the defense of this. Once you get into competition or get emotional about winning the thing, it's hard to get logical. So, first you get aware of the rising tide in this area. Then think about how if this item is really worth all that effort, time, and money. So, in a situation you feel your tide of emotions making you want the item more or win it over some competition, think about if you really need it that bad and if the price is worth it. Recently, I came across a very nice quote from Bruce Lee, and I don't know if it's fully attributed to him or he paraphrased it, but if it doesn't give me profit, purpose, or peace, it's not worth my time, effort, and money, or something like this. Chapter 8, Instant Influence, the primitive consent for an automatic age. Uh, TV host tells Zappa, I guess your long hair makes you a girl. Zappa replies, I guess your wooden leg makes you a table. It's a good counteract. So they talk about how we rely on single feature to decide about someone. With our fast-paced life, we need this shortcut. I think Malcolm Gladwell calls it thin slicing in one of his books, most probably Blink. Modern automaticity. How with all that information, sometimes we end up worse off than lower animals as we don't have time to digest the information. Faked, unrehearsed interviews. How nightclubs stay house full when it's empty to create the queue to make the club look popular. Talks about why we should retaliate when we see this and know what the real deal is. Yes, I didn't take good notes on that one, but here's the circular principles of persuasion: scarcity, reciprocity, authority, commitment, liking, consensus. So I made a summary of the defense against each influence principle. Let's go through it again. For reciprocity, recognize when a gift or favor is meant to create a feeling of obligation. Reframe the situation. A gift given to manipulate is not a true gift. Accept the gift if you want, but to reject the obligation. The second defense to commitment and consistency, ask yourself, would I make this choice again if I started from zero? Notice when the small initial commitment is being leveraged to force a bigger one. Avoid automatic consistency response. Pause and reassess. Social proof. Check whether the crowd actually knows something or is simply reacting. Look for real evidence, not just popularity. Be especially cautious of uncertain or ambiguous situations where social proof is strongest. Defense to liking. Separate the message from the messenger. Ask, would I agree with this if I didn't like this person? Watch for liking triggers: attractiveness, similarity, compliments, familiarity. And one thing I want to start practicing is called breaking rapport. Every now and then, whoever I'm meeting, I want to find a reason to break rapport with them. Same way I want to find reasons to compliment someone to keep doing the things I want them to do. This is a one I want to add to my belt. Defense for authority. Verify two things. Is the authority real? Credentials, expertise. Now, even if they have expertise in degrees and all that, is the authority trustworthy? Are they honest and unbiased, or are they doing it because they want to win something? Notice symbols of authority, title, clothing, status markers, and don't let them override thinking. Defense for scarcity. Ask, would I want this if it weren't scarce? Recognize the urgency or limited availability is artificially manufactured. Always, 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 that's a red flag to me. Every time someone says, oh, you have only this time frame to say yes to this. Anytime I'm forced to say yes, it's always going to be a no. Anytime I'm forced to make a decision, it's going to be a no. That I got from Tim Ferriss. I also have, I'll just say, learn to say no and use the tricks in this link to learn how to say the power of no. And then focus on value, not fear of missing out. So some people are going to make you feel like you're missing out. One of the biggest ones I've stepped through is where they show you this chart. This is your age. Okay. So all this you've already lost. This is your death age, 70, somewhere there. Between here and here, between 40 to 70, you have 30 years. In those 30 years, 8 are gone by sleep, 8 are gone by work. You only have 8. So divide your this by 3. So you only really have 10 years to do things. You have to invest in the property now. Defense against unity, added in later editions. So defenses against unity. Notice when someone's trying to manufacture a sense of we are the same group. Ask whether it's a shared identity is genuine or just a persuasion technique. Don't let tribal closeness override critical thinking. I am very good at this. Defense against instant influence. Check out your environment. Don't just go by single pieces of information to make decisions. Be aware of your when you're low bandwidth, tired, distracted, rushed. Rushed is the hard one, and use that link. Power of saying no. Just say no in the start, or I'll let you know. Let this sit with me. Identify manipulated shortcuts, distinguish between natural and occurring shortcuts and those manufactured by compliance professionals. That's a word. Aggressive counter attack. We should not just ignore, but actively boycott or retaliate against those who purposely fake or poison our mental shortcuts. Example, staged men on the street testimonials. Demand high quality data. When the stakes are high, force yourself to slow down and look for a second or third source of information rather than relying on a single easy to grab cue. Now, my personal thing is recently I've been trying to grow my circle, make my inner circle better, and some of the groups I'm getting, they're like, you have to do this, or suddenly I have to join a $9 a month subscription in one thing, then do another subscription here. So I was like, just give me the notes, send it to me, you do the work, set me the goals you've set for me, I'm going to put it against my SWOT. I don't even need to tell them. I'm just like, let me get back to you in a month when we get to the next meeting. Then I'll put it through my SWOT analysis, SMART analysis. Is it really my value? Again, the Bruce Lee thing. Does it increase my peace, my purpose, my profits? And that's it, folks. So the table of contents is down there. Now all the fluff. Long time ago, I did this book. It was one of the longest summaries I ever did back in 2011. But it was such a good book, and it's helped me figure a lot of things out. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. But otherwise, please do support me. I'm trying to grow at the moment, it's Facebook and both my podcasts. So if you're into all those, please do share and join and subscribe and all that. Otherwise, I have a monthly email where I share a quick summary of all the things I've been up to for the month. Other channels you can support me is YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. I have my blog, but all that comes in that monthly summary. You can get $25 worth of free Bitcoin if you join here. You can buy me a coffee if you like my stuff. My Amazon store, I get a cut when you buy certain things, and it's a very small cut, anyways. If you buy something from there from Amazon, you can get me something. And in merch, I sell different custom made t shirts, jackets, cups, mugs, pop sockets, and phone covers. So if you have a custom design you want me to design for you, or you want to have a look at what I'm already selling, feel free to join there. And I guess that's it. I shall catch you in the next one.